Hi, everybody. Welcome to Queers and Soaps. My name is Derek, and today I'm joined by Karen
Hi.
and Matt.
Hello.
And we're here to discuss General Hospital this week. We're discussing episodes that aired from May 27th to May 30th, 2025. Only 4 episodes this week, but a lot happened.
Yep.
Wow.
Tommy will roll the credits, and we'll get right into it. What a great follow-up to the Nurses' Ball.
Yeah.
It was really great.
They did a great job.
Yes. Really, really great job. Okay, so we'll start with, we'll get the smaller stories out of the way first. We'll start with Trina and Kai. Trina and So we have Trina and Kai. Trina and Kai arrive back at her apartment after the Nurses' Ball. They flirt and they kiss. They talk about Gio and how bad they feel about him. And then Trina says that Emma texted her and told her she's with Gio. They talk about Spencer. Trina admits she was afraid of losing someone else and she didn't want to get involved with Kai, and that she unfairly judged him. She felt guilty about her attraction with Kai, but Kai says he liked her from the start. And they kiss a little more, and then they have sex.
Yeah. That's about the size of it. I mean, I feel bad because it was like no plot advancement, no nothing. Just like remind people that these two are together and that in the beginning, Trina was mean to him because he was screwing up her GPA.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was just odd the way it was placed in the episode. Everything else was so big. And then we had these two.
Yeah. Weird.
There's a lot of small storylines going on around the big storylines this week, and we'll talk about Friday's episode later, but Matt and I had a whole conversation about Friday's episode.
It was bizarre.
Yeah, it was very bizarre.
I liked it. I just watched it today.
Yeah.
Oh, I liked it.
I liked it too. It's just like the way it was like all at once. It was weird.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll talk about the Gio storyline next. Lois runs out after Gio, but Brooklyn finds her and demands to know the truth. Lois admits that Gio is her son. So are we supposed to believe that the nurse, that's like right after the reveal? Because we had a whole episode in between. So
there's some weird editing going on this week because later in the week, Mac is going to go into Carly's house and then it cuts and then we don't find out what happened until later where he's
I thought I missed something. I was like,
yeah, me too.
Yeah, I was freaking out. I was like, did I look away?
Yeah, so I thought was I on my phone too long? Like, what happened?
We all know how I feel about Mac, so it's very hard for me to miss a John J. York scene. I love him.
Yeah, we know. I love him. I love him too. I've loved him since the 90s, so. All right, so Emma finds Gio at the mansion. He's running away. Emma says she's going with him. Lois tries to explain to Brooklyn why she made this decision. Lois says she wanted to make sure the baby had a wonderful home and a wonderful life. Brooklyn has trouble breathing, and then Lois holds her. Lois brings her water, but Brooklyn still wants an explanation. So Lois explains to her how this all happened, and how it was a dream come true for everyone. But then Camilla got sick, and they couldn't tell Gio the truth. So I don't know. Like, how do you all feel about Lois? Like, do you think that she feels bad about what she did? I kind of got the feeling that she's standing by her decision.
She is.
Yeah.
And it's going to come back and bite her because what she did was she allowed Sonny a relationship and no one else.
Right.
And that's when people start to realize that they're going to have a cow.
Yes, I agree.
I think what Lois is trying to do here is just explain her thinking at the time.
Right.
I do think that like she was wrong for not giving the baby up for a blind adoption, like a closed adoption, like she was supposed to.
Yeah.
But I also feel like at any point, Camilla could have told him, Lois could have told him, like they let this kid believe after his parent died that he had no more family. I understand taking time, let the kid grieve, but there could have been a softer way to introduce this idea without just this happening. Now, no one got a chance to do that because obviously Lulu did her Lulu thing. and that wrecked everything, right? But like, I don't hate Lois for this. I don't agree with what she did, but I don't hate her for it.
Yeah, I definitely don't hate her for it. I think that
I love Lois.
Yeah,
I do too.
I think she just made a really poor choice of judgment for sure.
But also, we're judging her for a choice she made 20 years ago.
Yeah,
that was retconned in.
Yeah, it didn't exist before, so like they have to kind of push it and shove it into the empty open space there, and it just, I don't know, it feels a little out of character for Lois, who was so fond of Lila and who was so fond of it, to be like, no, I could never tell Ned because then the Quartermaines would snatch my baby. It just seems weird to their relationship.
That wouldn't happen. So yeah. All right, so G and Emma decide to leave town, but they run into Tracy. Gio tells her that he is her great grandson. Dante arrives as Lois and Brooklyn are having a confrontation, and he wants answers. Gio explains to Tracy about his parentage. She wants the story she saw. She begs them not to leave. Brooklyn apologizes to Dante in tears. She tells him the whole story. She explains how she was so scared back then as a teenager, pregnant teenager. So Brooklyn says she didn't know it was Gio until earlier that night. Emma and Gio tell Tracy that he overheard Lois and Lulu. Gio really wants to leave. Tracy says, "You're my family now." And Tracy was so good in these scenes, by the way. Like this, I mean, Jane Elliott is always good. She always delivers every week. But like, she was breaking my heart again. She was so sweet, and then she was talking about Lila and Edward and everything. And
well, she was so cute because she's like, "This is like your great great grandfather, and this is your great great grandmother, and you have 8 billion relatives, and they're all insane, but they love you and they're yours."
Right.
And he wasn't ready for any of that yet.
Exactly. It was a bit of an overload, but it was so cute.
Cute, yeah.
Right. It was really cute. And then we have Brooklyn goes off on Lois. She agreed to a closed adoption. And this was a great scene. Amanda Setton was phenomenal here, as was Rena Sofer. But like, she said Lois, she had no right to change the plan without telling her. She's livid. She says what Lois did is unforgivable. Lois said she wishes she could go back in time. Brooklyn wants her to stay away from her and Gio. And then Lois breaks down in tears, and then Ned walks in after Brooklyn leaves with Dante because they need to go catch Gio because they get a text from Tracy. Okay, so Ned confronts Lois. He's furious at the fact that Lois kept him in the dark. Ned wonders why Brooklyn couldn't talk to him about it. Lois tries to explain herself. Ned says that he would have supported her decision. Lois wonders if that's true or if the Qs would have taken over.
It's in line with Ned's personality to have supported Brooklyn 100%.
Yeah, I agree.
So, I feel like that's a failing on Lois's side for, like, they were married. They were together for a long time. She knows what he's like, and she also knows that he often defied his family and did whatever he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Especially after the Catherine Bell nightmare marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was really unfair of the writers to make Lois feel that way when she didn't in the 90s. She didn't feel that way. And even in the early 2000s, she didn't feel that way.
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't need to add that. They could have just said Brooklyn wanted a closed adoption and left it at that. They didn't have to say, oh, it's because Lois hated the Quartermaines. That wasn't needed.
No.
It's also not true.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's like irritating. Like, and I understand she didn't want Brooklyn raised by the Quartermaines. That was kind of vaguely thrown out there because I think they had Brooklyn off camera. But it's like, I don't know. I feel like they always retcon everybody to be a bad parent. If you stay on the show and the other parent leaves with the kid or the kid stays, it always you're a deadbeat dad or mom.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so Brooklyn and Dante arrive just as Judah's about to leave, and he says that the Quartermaines are all liars.
That's true.
Yeah.
Gio is furious at Dante and yells at him not to touch him. Brooklyn says Dante never even knew she was pregnant. He wants to know what her excuse is. Brooklyn tries to explain, but Gio storms out with Emma, and Tracy tells Brooklyn she has to let him go. Olivia comes upon Ned and Lois. Ned apologizes and for keeping her, and she is ready to go. Olivia says she needs to talk to her good friend Lois.
Yeah, we knew this was coming.
Yeah. Tracy leaves as Brooklyn and Dante begin to argue. Tracy begs them not to push their pain away because they just found their son, and then she leaves them. Dante is upset that Brooklyn didn't tell him. They go back and forth about it. Dante is upset. Dante wants to know who else knew as Chase walks in, and then Dante realized Chase knew the whole time. Brooklyn defends not telling him because she didn't want to love the baby's life, and since he would come looking for her. Okay, Olivia feels extremely betrayed. Lois tries to explain. Lois points out she did the exact same thing to Dante and Sunny, which Karen and I talked about this week.
I know, because I really found it obnoxious that Olivia, of all people, would be like, I can't believe you would keep a child away from its father. Girls, you did the same thing. And
Yep.
her excuse is just like, oh, well, we knew Sunny was dangerous. But listen, when she had Dante, no, he wasn't. He was living in Bensonhurst. He wasn't really in the mob yet. He wasn't in the mob until he came to town in the 90s. So, like, Dante would have been a kid, and she kept everything from him. So she did the exact same thing, and her lie almost ended up with Dante getting murdered by his own father.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which she mentioned.
He did, and I was like, you better mention that.
Yeah. Olivia says she never really knew Lois at all and storms out. Sunny walks in, and as we predicted last week, Sunny forgave Lois.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
Nope.
He's just like, whatever. Every 3 months or so, they introduce my new son or daughter. It's fine.
Right.
I'm used to it by now.
Yeah, he's like, new family, yay.
Yeah.
He even thanked her, kind of.
He did, a little bit, yeah.
Because she managed to find a way to keep him involved in Gio's life and to keep Gio close to the family. So he's more in line with understanding why Lois did what she did.
Right.
Yep.
Yes. Tracy tells Dante not to blame Brooklyn, but to blame Lois. Dante wants to know why the truth came out now. And then they start to figure out it was Lulu.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. Oh God. I was like, she better not get out of this unscathed. Like she's the one that opened the box and dumped this all over the floor. Now everybody has to deal with it.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll talk about Lulu in a little bit, but Gio is trying to process everything. He and Emma bond on the footbridge. That's Robin's bridge, right? With Jason. Right?
Yes.
Yep. It used to have the locks all over it.
Yeah. Right. Gio explains that he saw his so-called family during his performance of the tango and couldn't help his outburst. He wonders who knew and who didn't. Emma asks why he smashed the violin. He says that was the biggest lie of all, and I felt so bad for him.
Yeah, he made some kind of comparison where his mother was a great violinist, and she said he inherited it, and so he felt really great. He's going to regret that. Those things are not cheap.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, if that was the one he had from his mother or from a family member, that's going to be the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
Because right now he's too upset.
I want to say I really like Gio and Emma. I think I'm on board. I think they have super couple status.
I do too.
Potential super couple status.
I'm sensing a lot of chemistry between the two, and their scenes this week were very good.
Their scenes were great. Really
Emma
good.
was great at kind of making him see that he's overreacting right now because he's angry and he doesn't really know who lied and who didn't lie. And he's acting like everybody lied all the time about everything and that his mother isn't his mother. And she's very good at leading him to the right conclusion, which is that Camilla was still Gio's mom. Just adopted. She raised him.
Yeah. All right. So Olivia gets back to the Quartermain mansion and Tracy congratulates her on having a grandchild. Brooklyn apologizes to Ned and he comforts her. Olivia tells Tracy she doesn't know how to feel. Olivia says she watched the kid grow up and she's torn. Ned and Brooklyn are both furious with Lois, but they are all worried about Gio. So, Emma wants to know why Gio. Oh, we talked about this. Why Gio trashes violin. We told him about his mom.
Yeah.
Okay. Brooklyn doesn't think Gio will forgive her. Ned says he doubts that will be the case. Brooklyn tells Ned that she loves him. Olivia says Gio brings all the cues together. Tracy is more determined than ever to run Sunny out of town.
Yeah, because she's like, oh no, now I have a great grandchild in common with Sunny.
Yeah.
It
Oh
was
yeah.
funny.
She did not like that at all.
And it's so funny because it's like a moment where you could pull together a push apart, and Tracy immediately is like, "We got to run that guy out of town because there ain't no way.
Yeah, I got bloodlines with this guy now. He gotta go.
You gotta go."
All right. Tracy tells Ned she found out about the baby recently. She believes it was Lulu who did this. Ned is furious that Lulu knew. Tracy yells at Ned for not coming to the police station, and they have a little argument, but they make up. A little cute little Quartermain argument that's resolved very quickly.
It's just Quartermains being Quartermains. They like to argue with each other. Jill will get used to it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. I did like the scene also between Brooklyn and Olivia. I thought that was really sweet. Brooklyn.
Me too.
Yeah. Olivia tells Brooklyn that it was her choice, and her choice only. Her, of all people, understands exactly how she feels, and things will work out once Gio calms down. And it was very sweet.
Except in every other conversation, she's like, "Why would Brooklyn do this?" And Dante deserved to know. So, like,
Well, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well,
And she should have extended a little bit of that grace to Lois.
right? Except she's not, because she's going to say, "Lois is my best friend, and why would she ever keep a secret like that from me?" While demonstrating in every scene why Lois should have kept that information from her.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Emma tries to convince Gio that Dante does not hate him. Emma says wherever she goes, she's going to come with him. And they're probably planning to leave Fort Charles. I don't know where they're going, but
They're not going anywhere.
No.
they're not going to end up going anywhere.
No, we don't have the budget for that. That's crazy.
No.
No, I'm just kidding.
We don't have Luke and Laura budget anymore.
Yeah,
Nobody has a Luke and Laura budget anymore.
No, not at all.
unfortunately. Lois and Brooklyn discuss where Gio is. They argue. Brooklyn is still furious with her and goes off on her. Lois wants to find Gio, but Brooklyn tells him to stay away from her and her son.
Everyone's so dramatic and in their feels right now because, like, obviously Gio's not going to run away forever. Like, come on.
Lois continues to say that she thought she did what she thought was best. Emma and Gio discuss how much Camilla loved him. Emma tells him that Camilla will always be his mom. He wonders if Sonny knew about him all along because of the contributions he's made to his music career and all that. He doesn't think Dante or Brooklyn knew, though, but he thinks that that's why Sonny supported him all these years.
He clearly knows nothing about Sonny's habit of giving a lot of money to young men who are displaced so he can use them later in his criminal organization. I mean, this is not something he's done multiple times to multiple men on the show.
Yeah.
Good luck, Gio.
Lois stands by her decision, as we talked about.
Yes, she does, and she kind of should, because at this point, all you can do is double down.
Yep.
Brooklyn says all the choices Lois made robbed her of the chance to make her own choices, and she had a point. And Gio is paying for this now. So Emma tells Gio that no matter what, Camilla is still his mom, which we talked about. He says that Brooklyn is the woman that gave him away. But here's the thing.
Woman?
Gio,
You mean child.
child. She was a teenager, not a woman.
Baby's having a baby.
Gio wants to go to Canada, but he can't. He knows he can't avoid everyone, so now they're going back. So Brooklyn and Lois are arguing, and Gloria shows up and yells at Brooklyn and tells her not.
Gloria looks incredible, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Yes.
She walks in and she was like, "None of this."
Ellen Travolta is back.
Yay.
That's going to be a big scene.
Oh yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I feel like people forget that, like, this is 20 years ago, 21, 22 years ago, however old Gio is. And all of them were different people who would have made different choices now. But back then, like, Brooklyn was a child. Dante was a child. Olivia was raising a baby by not telling the father. Like, so she was already living that life at that moment. And like, I don't know. It just seems like I love this because it's dramatic and everyone's overreacting, but it's all going to calm down. Gio just found out he's part of a multi-million-dollar family.
Yep.
You're rich, kid.
Exactly.
Everybody's acting like they're the people that they were the people they are now back then.
Right.
That's very true. I didn't even think about that.
And I don't like how they act like being a Quartermain is akin to being like a meth addict. They're all like, why would you want to be a part of this family? Like, they're rich people. They're not monsters.
Yeah.
Well, some rich people are monsters.
Sometimes.
Quartermains are just weirdos.
Yeah.
Happy
Quirky.
weirdos. Yeah, quirky.
All right. So now we'll talk about the wonderful Lulu Spencer.
Derek, have you been waiting to talk crap on Lulu for this whole episode?
Usually it's Christina. Now it's Lulu. So
no, Christina.
Do
we have time for her?
All right. Lulu and Cody are on her porch. She wants to know how Dante is. He says he is mad. Cody tells her that he confirmed the truth to him. Lulu is relieved that Dante knows the truth. And she continues to justify in her head that she did the right thing. And Lulu, you didn't. I'm sorry. You should have stayed the fuck out of this.
Yeah, she stuck her nose in an entire other family's business just because, and I think Dante says it to her later, because she needs to prove to everyone that Brooklyn is the jerk she thinks she is.
Yeah.
And it's crazy the lengths she'll go to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Lulu tells Cody that Gio must have overheard her and Lois. And then Cody and Lulu continue to feel bad about how terrible Gio was. Cody feels terribly guilty, and he says that he doesn't think that they realize how much this would hurt Gio.
They weren't thinking about Gio, really. They were thinking about the adults in the scenario.
No. Yeah. Lulu still thinks she did a good thing after he says this. And I'm just like, come on, Lulu.
Even after watching his meltdown and how upset he was. Yeah. That's what makes me mad.
Makes me mad too.
Yeah. Yeah, because you see that sure, she shows like little hints of remorse, but it's not about the fact that she got involved and she blew this entire world apart. It's that she feels bad that Gio feels bad.
Yeah.
I think she feels bad that she didn't get to control the moment it happened.
I think you're right.
Yes, I agree. She wanted Brooklyn to be there, and she wanted to make her look bad.
Yeah, she wanted to crap all over Brooklyn, so then Brooklyn looks like a monster. She looks like a hero. Dante loves her. She has her happily ever after, and now that is not happening.
Nope.
No, and we will talk about this now because this is a great point to talk about this. Dante comes to see Lulu after he puts the pieces are put together that Lulu is the reason that Gio knows. Dante says it was you.
You.
She admits that he must have overheard the truth in her confrontation with Lois. He tells Lulu that she made everything worse. And this is what made me the most mad in this scene is that she continues to think that Brooklyn knew.
I know.
Even after, first of all, even after Brooklyn knew, she told Brooklyn that she had a boy when she was going through Martin's room. Brooklyn didn't know she had a boy. How would she know about the Gio? Number one.
Yeah.
Number two, Lois had told her that Brooklyn didn't know. Dante just tells her that Brooklyn didn't know.
And she's like, yes, she did.
That Brooklyn knew that Gio was her son.
You don't know that Brooklyn didn't know. I think she did know because I believe it, and that makes it true.
Exactly. That was the most frustrating part of the scene for me.
It reminds me of Christina. Absolutely right with that. Because she's the same. Like these two women, the mental gymnastics they do to like justify their horrible behavior is crazy. Now, do I like Lulu more than Christina? Yeah. But do I think they're both nuts? A little bit.
Dante tells Lulu she should have minded her own business. She continues to try to explain and make excuses. He thinks that she wanted to go after Brooklyn above all else, which she's right about, but she denies this. But he is 110% correct about this.
I'm not sure if she realizes how absolutely correct that take is. I still think she's a little delusional in that scenario.
Yeah. They go back and forth, and it was just a great argument. Lulu finally got what she deserved. Loved every minute of it. Dante says that he he was hoping that to use this information to get them back together. And then she says she never wanted to use this to get them back together. And she tells Tom that she never wants him back, which is a blatant lie.
Lies. Lies.
And then Lulu says that they can be co-parents. She doesn't even want to be friends with him anymore. And he demands that she stays away from Gio. And then we see that Lulu is clearly, very affected by this, and she's bawling and crying. And she deserved that. I didn't feel bad for her.
I didn't feel bad for her because obviously this is the house she built. But I do. I like the idea of them back together, and I know obviously they wouldn't go for putting them back together this soon into a storyline. And they do need to move Lulu into a couple different storylines because this has been too much of her obsession lately. She was so obsessed with Charlotte. Where's Charlotte? When was the last time you saw Charlotte?
Yeah.
So maybe she needs to go back to working on herself and her family, and then maybe we consider new romances.
Yeah.
Perhaps therapy because she was out for 4 years in a coma.
Yeah.
And missed 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe deal with that.
Yeah, focus on that. Get yourself a therapist.
Yeah.
Maybe find out what the new flavors of coffee are at your local coffee shop. Like maybe do life stuff.
It's like Sam's bone marrow changed her into Christina.
By that Cassadine blood.
All right, so we'll talk about Michael next. Uh-oh. Technical difficulties. Hold on.
Okay.
Are you guys good?
Here.
I'm still here.
Okay.
We're here.
Okay, everything's frozen on my end. Okay.
Just keep talking. You're not frozen on our end.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. All right, so we'll talk about Michael's return and the custody case. Michael and Wiley reunite. Michael says they're going to Carly's, where Amelia already is. We were right. Jason got Amelia. Drew and Rona after him and are stopped by Jason. I love Wiley's little "bye, mommy."
That was hilarious.
It was so funny.
Bye, mommy. Bye.
And Willow's hysterical, and she's like, it was so great. It's such a great moment.
But she's always like, he's stealing my kids. Aren't they both your kids? Aren't they your children?
Right.
Steal your children. You don't have a custody agreement. You're not even divorced yet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, Will and Drew want to know where the kids are. Joss, Carly, and Sonny show up along with Nina. Will finds out that Michael also has Amelia. She and Drew run out. Carly and Joss are also about to leave. Nina begs Sonny to listen to her, and she's furious about Michael taking the kids. Sonny says no one wants a battle, but until Willow gets away from Drew, nothing is ever going to change.
Yep.
It's true.
Yeah. Sonny wants to know if there's anything Nina can say to Willow to get her away from Drew.
There is, but she won't do it because she's a coward.
Exactly.
Although I love
the battle, though. Which we'll get to.
Like, Drew is a...
Weird things are happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So Sasha is at Carly's with the kids, and Michael shows up. Sasha is thrilled to see Michael again. Michael looks great. She says she's doing well, and the baby's doing well. Michael says he will still stay out of the baby's life. Willow and
that surprised me.
Yeah,
I thought when he came back, he was going to be all about it.
I agree. I've had the same thought.
I think he's going to wait and see if Sasha's opinion changes on his involvement, because she was already like, feel the baby and talking to him.
And
so
pictures of the sonogram.
Right. And he doesn't want to be in an AJ situation. Like, you know, he had to go through. But although I love the idea of this being a reverse that situation where Michael gets the kids and those kids get to be raised as Qs.
Yeah.
Change your name from Corinthos back to Quartermain. Oh, wait, you did that and then never changed it back to Corinthos. And yet we're always Corinthos on the show?
I guess so.
Michael.
Mm-hmm. So Willow and Drew go to the PCPD and see Mac to report a kidnapping. Really?
Mac is so tired of these people. You can tell.
Mac doesn't have anything to do with them.
He doesn't want anything to do with that house. He never wants to go to that mansion. He's like, leave me alone, Quartermains.
Exactly. Meanwhile, Maxie meets with Nina at the Brown Dog. They discuss that Michael is back and he took the kids. Nina considers telling Willow that she and Drew slept together to put a stop to their relationship. Nina and Maxie discuss Michael's return. Nina finds out that Sasha is testifying at the custody hearing. Maxie and Nina discuss Sasha and subpoena. Nina begins to realize that Sasha might be pregnant with Michael's baby. And she puts the pieces together. And when she questions the bartender, and she shows him a picture of Michael, and he confirms that Michael left with Sasha that night. And they were
because she started with a picture of Jason, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I think I'd remember Jason Quartermain if he was in. I mean, Jason Morgan if he was in here, because that guy shakes everybody down and is part of the mob."
Right.
So.
Right. Buy my coffee or else.
Yeah, right. There's a protection racket in this town. So yeah, he immediately knew it wasn't Jason, but I did feel bad because I didn't want this secret to come out yet.
No, not yet.
I kind of liked it just because I'm all for the drama of it.
It was a good scene for Nina, I have to say. Normally, Nina kind of looks like an idiot sometimes when they do these things, and this shows her like more savvy side because she does run an entire magazine. She's not dumb. She just makes bad choices.
Yeah. Drew tells Mac that Jason took Amelia on Michael's orders. Drew wants Mac to hurry up and arrest him. Mac says that's not a kidnapping. Mac was so good in these scenes. I love him.
He's so over it. He's like, okay, where's your custody agreement? Oh, you don't have one?
Yeah.
Why am I here?
Right, exactly.
Oh, the uncle took the child to the father's house? Why am I here? I don't know why I'm here. I'm going to go back to the PCPD and do my job. I got to go.
Yeah.
Weird editing. Remember to mention the weird editing.
Yes. The family arrives and is reunited with Michael. So Michael is going to spend the night at Carly's. And so I guess we were wrong. He's not pissed at everybody. So I thought that, I don't know what that was.
I told you before, I think he just expects this behavior from his mother. So he's not trying to take control and do all this stuff. It's not new behavior.
Right. Yeah, true.
And she doesn't stop it. She continues to do it when she goes to talk to Curtis. It's not like she was like, oh, I shouldn't get involved anymore. She went right back to meddling 2 seconds later.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's just who she is.
It is.
So one of the things that was surprising is Jason did not tell him to come home. He called Diane, and Diane was the one who told him about the custody hearing. So
we were thinking it was Jocelyn or Jason, and here's Diane. Diane couldn't handle it anymore. She cracked.
And I love that. That's a good twist. I did not think of that.
And she works in the best interest of her client.
She does. That was
that's Michael and not Carly.
It is. It's Michael's call, so she wasn't going to obey Carly in that scenario. Yep. Not if it was to the detriment of her case and her client.
Yep.
All right. So Nina wants Drew out of the picture to make the custody arrangement easier. Maxie agrees it's a gamble. Nina knows that Willow may never forgive her if she knows about her and Drew. She doesn't know if she has the courage to tell Willow or not. Maxie thinks Nina may want to stay quiet for now. So now we'll circle back to Michael. Michael explains about the whole Diane thing, and then Mac shows up and says he's investigating a kidnapping. So then we pick up, and Mac is gone. So it's gone. Weird pivot, and I thought I missed something like we said earlier.
Me too.
But anyway, Michael has emergency custody of the kids until the court date, which he filed with Diane before he came home. So there's nothing Mac or the police can do about it. And I love how Drew and Willow are so outraged about this, and they can't process this information.
Most delusional characters that have been on in a minute. I mean, since Heather left.
They are.
Please come back, Heather. I miss you.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Drew and Willow are in the car, and Willow wants to go to Michael's at Carly's. I don't know how she found out that he was at Carly's. Did I miss something? Yeah, okay.
I guess if she went to the Quartermains and they were all yelling about Gio, she was like, "Oh, too much drama over here." And then she went to Carly's.
Here. Michael's not here. I'll go try Carly's.
I'll go try Carly's house. Maybe she started at Bobby's and she knocked on the door to Jason's and he wasn't home. So she was like, maybe I'll go over to Carly's.
He probably went on a long search that we didn't see.
Yeah.
Would have been funny if she had said that too. I've been to your parents' house, like your grandparents' house. I've been here, I've been there, and you brought them to Carly's of all people. Like, she just assumed they went to Carly's, I'm sure.
Right.
And also, Drew can't get on the Quartermaine property, so they couldn't check there first.
That is true.
He had to
Oh, yeah.
to get there last time.
Yeah, that is very true.
I love that of all the people keeping him off the property, it's Monica.
I love that.
I love it too. So good. So Willow finally arrives at Carly's and she begs Michael not to take the kids from her. No, he knows that they belong with her. No, he doesn't know that. Are you out of your ever-loving mind, Willow?
Would have been an easy 50-50 custody split if Drew wasn't involved.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And Michael even points it out, which we'll talk about in a second. So we'll talk about Jason and Sasha for a second. Sasha and Jason arrive home. Jason thanks Sasha. He says that Michael deserves to be home with his kids because they apparently were orchestrating getting Amelia over there. Jason says he will continue acting as the baby's father, and Sasha is very happy about this. She feels a little bit hypercritical because she still wants to raise the baby without Michael. So this scene was pretty epic. Michael and Willow fight over letting her see the kids. He says they don't belong with her anymore. Michael says, well, puts her own needs above the kids, and Michael has one condition for her to remain in his lives, and that is to break up with Drew.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't disagree with him. I think that's the best.
I don't. Every decision that she has made has been whatever decision Drew has fed her. So obviously it's in her best interest and not the kids. And he actually mentions that the kids were asking when they could go back home and when they were going to see him. And Drew told them that they wouldn't. So there's already parental alienation going on through Drew.
Well, he's already trying to manipulate the children.
Yes. Yeah, so that's not going to go over well in court either, depending on how they run this, because this is a soap, not real life. This is a soap. I have to remind myself because sometimes the legal stuff is very incorrect.
Very much so.
Yeah, but it's fun. So
yeah,
that's all I want.
Willow gets back in the car with Drew. Willow says Michael is the man she used to know. She tells Drew about Michael.
I don't know him anymore.
Willow says she may not have a choice, but she's going to have to leave him. And then he manipulates her back into the relationship.
Immediately.
I hate this scene.
I hated it so much. I was like, Willow, I thought Willow finally came to her senses, but no, never going to happen.
But what if you leave and he has made no promises and he won't give you anything? But if you're with me, I can definitely make sure your children are taken away.
Greenwashing was happening right before our eyes.
I know, it did feel that way, didn't it?
Yeah.
This is like David Gray and his stupid ring all over again.
Speaking of rings, I am so mad.
Yeah.
Oh, that he took Lila's ring.
Yeah. This was the one time this week I wanted to throw something at my TV.
That made me mad too.
When he gets murdered, that ring is going to disappear and it's going to reappear later. It's probably going to be like on Sky Quartermaine's finger or something like that.
Now, wouldn't that be a twist?
Mm-hmm.
I love her. If she came on, I'd be very excited.
Me too.
Michael tells Jason he doesn't want to take the kids away from Willow, but he has to protect them, and Jason agrees. Drew really wants that ring, and he's going to dig up dirt on Michael. And Michael promises on a sleepwire that he will never leave him again. Sasha and Cody, they had a nice scene together. She didn't know about Gio, and filled her in on what happened. And she told Cody that Lulu wouldn't have backed up whether or not he got involved or not. So, and he sees a lot of himself in Gio. Cody says it should have never come out that way. Sasha tells Cody he can't go back in time and fix things. So don't be so hard on himself. I also like when she said when he's like, yeah, and I was so horrible to you. I outed Jason as your baby daddy. And she goes, I don't like that term.
I like that. Yeah,
that was really funny.
They were cute, and it was just like you gained an entire huge family from it. But like Cody understands that Gio loved his made up family, which they really aren't. And now he's devastated. So it's very nuanced for Gio, but right now he's just feeling emotions.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I love that Cody's remorseful, unlike other characters named Lulu.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was about to say. You can certainly tell the difference in, I don't know, having good character between Cody and Lulu.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I don't think that Lulu doesn't have good character. I think this is Lulu's Achilles heel is this whole Brooklyn thing.
Well, yeah, in this instance, yeah.
And it stems from a lot of insecurity because when she basically, to live, Sam had to die. So then that made it hard for her to get close to Dante. And then to find out that Brooklyn had this special connection to Dante. It's like they're all getting what she wants, but she's not processing it properly. Most likely because she has brain damage from being in a coma for 4 years and being over-medicated on weird drugs that killed her liver.
Yeah.
So who knows what's happening in her brain.
Okay, so Sasha and Michael bond over the baby. Sasha admits that she has to go to the hearing because Rick is calling her to the stand.
Yep.
Michael and Sasha discuss her testimony. They don't believe Rick knows he is the father of the baby, but Michael and Sasha bond while watching the kids. So I think new Michael and Sasha have a lot of chemistry, and I think they're going to move towards pairing them.
They are showing a lot of scenes of them with the entire family. So it's like Sasha, Michael, and the kids.
Yeah.
So it's a very familial image they're trying to like lure us in with. We notice.
Yeah.
But he still loves Willow. I mean, I hate to say it.
I think he does.
He does. And they had chemistry. They had chemistry too.
I don't think it matters because, like he says in the scene, he's like, I don't think I ever actually knew who she was. So I think he thinks he loved the idea of her.
Well, yeah.
And not who she is. So he's not going to obviously fall right into Sasha's arms. That would be stupid and boring. It's going to take a long time, and we're going to have to kill off whatever remains of that love. Or we have to kill Drew. I mean,
I'm okay with that.
I kind of love him because he's such a heel and like he's doing a great job. But they are going to eventually have to paint him into a corner if they don't get tricky with it.
Yeah. Agreed.
I don't want them to, though. No more killing Quartermains.
So we'll get into Friday's episode. Carly and Curtis are discussing Michael's case. Carly wants Curtis to use Aurora Media to help discredit Drew. Carly wants Curtis to print more dirt on Drew. Curtis says he can't help. Curtis reminds Carly they can't really write a smear campaign against Drew.
What was that suit Curtis was wearing? I was in love.
He looked great.
Yes, very much. He almost looked like a detective in a film noir. Like he looked good. I liked it.
Yeah.
Better than those like too thin suits the guys have been wearing lately.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, for sure. Portia arrives at Curtis's office. He's furious that he can't help Carly because of her. Okay, so I didn't understand this. Curtis wants to know where Jacinda is and why that exactly?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I don't know. Maybe he wants to ask Jacinda if they actually banged.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, or he either wants to pay her to go ahead with the lie and say it was her.
Maybe.
Well, she did drug him. She was the one who did the actual drugging. So you think he wants to pay her to admit to it?
Yeah, and that Portia and Nina didn't have anything to do with it. Leave them out.
Oh, maybe that's what it is.
That could be true. Good guess.
Portia was upset that Drew framed Tracy for a crime that she committed. And
yeah.
I don't think
I like that. That's good for Portia. Like Portia's having character growth.
Curtis wants to know how Drew knew that Portia drugged him, and she blames Brad. And Curtis says he's going to find Jacinda. So we'll see where that's going. I'm interested to see.
Yeah,
she was so funny. She's like, well, I mean, Brad's the one that actually got the drugs. And who's going to believe Brad? He sucks. And Curtis is like, you suck too. Like,
right?
What? But it was very funny the way she was just like, he's a criminal and I'm a doctor, a good one. And I'm like, no, dude, that's not how this is going to play out at all. But I loved it. Brooke Kerr really sold it for me.
Right.
He did.
All right, well, we'll talk about the whole Alexis, Christina, Lucky, Liz, and Laura stuff.
Most entertaining stuff is Alexis sitting across from those two idiots.
So Christina and Lucky tell Alexis what happened the day of the accident. Christina admits she told Dante about being at the scene of the crime.
Masterclass for Alexis. Nancy Gran does this entire scene with facial expressions and movements of her pen across the paper pad because she is just horrified through this entire scene, and it is so well acted. I loved it so much. She was just like, "Oh my god!" And then, how many people saw you?
Right?
She's like, "I don't think anyone saw me." And Lucky's like, 4 cops, a couple paramedics.
Yeah.
The cops have body cams, so
If you could hear eye rolls.
Yeah.
you could.
Alexis wants to know if the cops know if she was at the scene. The car is if Lucky was at the scene. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The car is the only tie to Christina. Alexis tells Lucky that he will take it from here. Oh, she will take it from here. Lucky leaves. Liz wants to know where Lucky has been and asks Laura about Rick. Laura says that Liz is the love of Lucky's life. Liz wonders if their relationship can work. Liz says she loves having Lucky there. She wonders he is happy here in Port Charles. Laura wants that for him, but she wants him to decide what's best for them. Laura notices that there's a lot of money missing from Ace's trust fund and tells
$10 million.
$10 million. Yeah. Lucky tells Liz he knows a lot more about the accident than she thinks, which is
please let him
tell
confess.
her.
Please
tell her.
I'm like invested in them, and I don't want them to be ruined because of Christina and her stupidity. And I also love that that interchange between Laura and Liz about Rick being there whenever Lucky's not there. And and she's like, "Do you think that he's waiting till Lucky is in here?" And she goes, "Are you suggesting that Rick is watching the house? Because he's not above that." And I believe it. And I was like, this is great. And Rick was so sweet in that scene. I liked it when he brought her.
I did too. And I had some either wishful thinking or speculation, which I'll get into. Derek knows. But I just hope it goes the way I want it to.
Listen, stop having secret GH conversations without me. It's terrible.
Well, we have secret GH conversations without him too. So.
You know what? That's different because I'm not left out.
All right, so we'll talk about Nina and Ava. Nina tells Ava about Michael most likely being the father of Sasha's baby. Nina is doubting whether she should use it because she doesn't want to betray Sasha. And I like that development.
I do.
I was very happy that Nina decided not to use this information, at least for now.
I'm really excited that she even considered Sasha's feelings. She's been so obsessive about Willow.
Mm-hmm. But also, Nina surprised me again when she says she thinks maybe this time that Willow doesn't get full custody of the kids because she'll never leave Drew if she doesn't.
And she'll also go to Washington. Yeah. It was a pretty I was confused. I was surprised that she did that.
Yeah, and I think it's a good development. So I'm for it.
It's coming out. You know it's coming out. Sasha's gonna hate her if that comes out.
I know.
Which will make me sad because their relationship has always been one of the more wholesome ones, even though it started on a lie.
Yeah. Nina thinks that Willow shouldn't get full custody. She thinks that if Drew causes her to lose her kids, that she will leave him. Which she's right. I think that.
I don't know.
You think she's going to stay with him if she loses her kids?
I think she would cling to him because she has nothing else left.
That's true.
Or she'll jump to Isaiah.
Oh, don't do that to Isaiah.
I know.
Ava says she doesn't envy Nina in this situation. Rick arrives after Ava leaves, and he wants to know if Nina's ready to testify. He wants to know if he has any more information to give him. So,
Beecher's Corners reference.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
He said he was back from Beecher's Corners. Ava said, "How'd you get back from Beecher's Corners so fast?" And he's like, "I have a very fast car."
Yeah, you're really.
Meanwhile, he lied and he was at Liz's.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Okay. Anything y'all want to mention or add, or any scenes you loved?
No, you did a great job.
Oh,
you covered it all.
You covered almost all of it. I liked a lot of the interaction between Liz and Laura because, like my mom says, they do treat each other like they're mother and daughter. And I love how that continues years and years after she broke up with Lucky. And Laura must be tickled pink that the two of them are starting to reconnect because she loves them together. They've been friends since they were like, what, 11? 10 or 11? Mm-hmm. So they've been together forever, even as friends. So it's kind of nice seeing that Laura just like spreads that love around. And I also like that Laura was keeping track of Ace's money. I knew she would do it because she's very smart. And I was just surprised at how fast she came running up on Alexis to find out what was going on. So that was interesting. It was a really kind of strange week. It was like really good. A lot of stuff was happening. But there's that editing was really weird. It felt like a scene was cut out.
Yeah, it was a little strange.
And the Trina Kai stuff was just, you could have picked it right up and thrown it out. It didn't do anything for the week, which is a shame because Trina is a powerhouse and she's being wasted in this storyline.
Yep.
I liked the episode, but I felt like it was a little rushed because I felt like they were getting to all the storylines they haven't gotten to a while. And it just like was like a lot of talking. And then all of a sudden we have like crazy cliffhangers and all of it.
That's what I was just about to say. It was such a weird episode.
It was.
I mean, I loved it. But when's the last time we had 5 cliffhangers?
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. More of that, please. I like
I agree.
I like the style of just having a lot more of the other storylines kind of getting touched base on, because I guess we're going to move forward on some of these storylines that have kind of been dropped while the nurses' ball was going on. So we're going back to like the second stories and the third stories and fourth stories. So we're going to be doing a lot more than just I think it's court for divorce first before we get to the custody hearing.
Right.
Also, I'd like to tell everyone you can get the nurse's ball shirt.
You have it.
Yeah, I got it. It wasn't supposed to get here until late tonight, but it came this morning.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, yeah, it came very quickly, week out. I was like, last week, I'm like, where's the shirts? They should sell the shirts. And my mom was like, they are selling the shirts. It's on the website. Why didn't you look? And I was like, oh, thanks. So she was like, I bought you one. And
that's great.
And now I'm excitedly wearing the same shirt that Lucy Coe was wearing because I got the one with all of from 2014 to current.
Okay. They don't have.
Yeah, that's the one I liked.
Do they have the one from 94 to current or just?
No, but they do have other nurses' ball gear. There's a lot of stuff on the ABC store. So if you want to check it out, you can get cups that say Corinthos Coffee, but I don't know.
I'm not doing that.
That's not your.
You can get Metro Court. You can get Metro Court cups and stuff if you want to pretend you're at the Metro Court, dropping all your secrets. But yeah, get a nurse's ball shirt. They're available and they're cute. And it's Bella Canvas. I don't know if you know anything about shirts, which means they're soft and comfortable and unisex.
Yep.
Nice.
That's a free General Hospital commercial.
Right.
Yay.
Like I wouldn't support them forever.
All right, everyone, we're going to head over to Patreon and we're going to speculate because there's a lot of storylines that we can speculate this week. Last week was a little hard because of the nurse's ball. But
we were too excited.
And we are going to watch some clips. There is no clip of the week, but we have 4 really fun clips to watch that were really great this week. And we're going to do our best to pick the performers of the week because literally it's so hard.
The whole cast this week.
Yeah, the whole cast deserves flowers. The whole cast.
For sure. But thank you so much for joining us for this edition of Queers and Soaps. This is our GH coverage for this week. Thank you so much again, and we will see you next week. Thank you.
Bye.